Hey guys, it's Anna, and today I'm going to show you how to run a query that somebody has sent you. So let's say somebody has sent you a query. It looks something like this, and you want to use it to pull certain data out of Synergy. So what we're going to do is start in Synergy and go to the query screen. You can always get where you want to go in Synergy using the quick launch search bar at the top. So just click there and type what you're looking for. I'm looking for query, and then click it in the search results to go to it. If you want to save it in your bookmarks and come back quickly later, you can toggle this little bookmark icon here. And so I have all the things that I use commonly in my bookmarks. It's a little quicker. All right, so this is the query screen. I'm going to go over to the tab that says type in query. And in this open space here is where I'm going to paste the query that somebody sent me. So I'm going to select all the query text here. I'm going to use Control C on my keyboard to copy, come back over to Synergy, and I'm going to Control V to paste where it says query. And then I have to click validate or it will not work. And it says query is valid. And then I can look and see what kind of query I have. So I'm going to click on the columns. This shows me where all that data is pulling from within Synergy. So there are different sections in Synergy that are called business objects. And this shows you how those are linked together and where it's pulling from. Down here shows you actually what you're pulling. So even though this is a top to bottom list, it's showing you the order that the columns are going to pull if you open this in a spreadsheet. So the first column in the spreadsheet on the left is going to be the SIS number, which we call the student ID number. Then it will have last name, then first name, etc. Nickname is what Synergy calls the preferred name. So this is going to show you what kinds of things you're pulling. You can change the order of these columns. I always like mine to start with the student ID number, the last name, the first name, and the nickname if I'm pulling a list with student names. But you may want yours in a different order. So let's say I want to move the period. This is pulling a list of advisement classes. Let's say I want to move the period up here so that it appears first before any of the other information about the class. So you'll click on the stack icon and you'll notice my cursor changes to arrows. So you'll click on that stack icon and drag to put that column in the new location where you want it, okay? You may see some things that are marked hide over here. So that's data that you're pulling in your query, but you're not going to show it in your spreadsheet or however you're pulling that data because it's marked hidden. Or you may have something in the list that you don't care about showing and you want to hide that. So I could hide the grade level, for instance, if I don't want to show that. All right, so once you have it in the order that you want, the next thing you want to look at is your output type. So you have several options here. I would say the most common ones are probably HTML and Excel. Some people are also pulling PDFs if you're pulling some kind of query that produces a report, but usually it would be one of those things. So I use HTML if I need to pull a query quickly and look at it, but I don't need to save the information anywhere. Sometimes I'll use this if I'm building a query and I want to see if this, or I'm opening a query and I want to see if this query is going to pull the information I want or how it's going to look. I can use HTML. But usually if it's data I'm sending someone or data I want to save and use later, I'm going to put it in Excel. Okay, so choose the one that you want. Go over to the conditions tab and check out what conditions are associated with your query. So this tells which data to pull. So here, let me just give you a quick guide to how these conditions work. This looks at student class and finds the piece of data called leave date, and it only pulls students that have a null, in other words, a blank, in the leave date. In other words, this query will only pull advisement classes that the student is still active in. If there's a leave date because they left that class, it will not pull that in this list. This is only going to pull from the section term codes that contain one. So this is only going to pull first semester and first quarter classes. it's going to look at the course and the course title and only pull ones that start with the word advisement. And that's a good way to pull all the advisements because those classes are titled Advisement 9, Advisement 10, etc. And then it's pulling from a list of student ID numbers, and it's only going to pull for these students. Okay, it's not going to pull for anybody else. If any of these are a condition that I don't want, let's say this is pulling just for this list of students, but I want to pull advisements for all students. I can click the X to completely get rid of that condition. Let's say I need to change a condition. A lot of times you'll need to change the term code. This query is set up to pull just for semester 1, but maybe I need to pull advisement for semester 2. Click the condition that you want to change. And then this is pulling section, term code, a term code that contains the number 1. And instead, I want term codes that contain the number 2. So I'll update it here and click OK. Make sure that little box disappears after you click OK, and that it updates for change right here. Okay. You could look at the sort. For instance, if you've pulled your output in HTML and it doesn't quite look how you wanted it to look, you can change the sort order. This is set to sort by staff name, and then course title, and then last name. So it's going to show you like all of Mrs. Bridges' advisements first, and it's going to sort them by sections for 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade, and then it's going to be in alphabetical order by the student. Let's say I want to look at all students at Parkview, and I don't need it to be listed by staff member's name. I could get rid of the staff name, and then I could put the student's last name as the only thing I'm sorting by. And then it will give this information to me for all students, and it will be sorted by last names. Okay. When you've got everything set up the way that you want, again, you may want to first start by running it in HTML to make sure it looks the way that you want. You hit execute to run your query, and it may take a few minutes, especially if it's a complicated query or it's pulling a lot of data. So just be patient while it pulls that. And then you can get a view of what does this data look like? Is this how I expected it to look? Notice there are 162 pages, 3,200 rows, because this is listing each student and there are 3,200 students. So I am going to click the little X next to my name to close the second window. And this does look how I want, and now I want to save it as an Excel. So I'm going to change HTML to Excel and click execute again, and it's going to run my query. A little job details dialog will pull up to show me the progress. If it's taking a long time and you have other things that you need to do, you can click check status later. And to bring that back up, you see the little gears up here? Click on, actually I don't even have to click, just put your mouse over that and you can click view, and it has finished my query, so now it's prompting me to save it. It always comes up with a code like this as the name of the file, but I strongly suggest that you change the name to something that you know what it is. So let's say advisement list for all students would be a good name for this, and maybe I want to put it on my desktop and click save. Whoops, I clicked out of it. There it is. Okay. So it will show in your downloads bar at the bottom. Sometimes that'll be hidden and it'll just look like a plain white page. If you maximize that, you'll see it down in your downloads bar. You can click on it to open it, and it will open the data that you pulled. Okay, so that's all students by last name with their advisement class listed. So that is how you pull a query that somebody sends you. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this was helpful. Thanks.